Hey lovelies, welcome back to the channel. So basically in this tutorial we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful Victorian corset you can see on the screen. So please let's get right into the video. So from the previous video we drafted this pattern. You can see I already have my patterns numbered, so if you've not seen that video, please go ahead and see it. So I think it will be easier for us to work with this other video here. So I have my patterns numbered, so that is my center. Then I have my front in 3 pieces, as you can see. Then I have the back as well in 3 pieces. So it's going to be 3 on 3, that's 6 at the back. I don't know if that is clear enough. Then I added 1.5-inch allowance to all these patterns, as you can see. So I added it randomly on the top and then on the sides and then on the bottom part. So I also added my stay to this, so I went ahead to cut lining pieces for this. So I have lining pieces for all of these pieces. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be joining all of it together. So for this part I have 2 lining pieces for each of this part. The only place I have 1 lining piece is just this center piece that you can see number 1 on. So let's work on the front piece first. Now we'll just unpin this, as you can see me doing. So go ahead and do the same for yours. Then set your pattern papers aside. So actually using the pattern paper will make it easier, because this can really scatter and be confusing at times. So this is going to be the center piece for the front, and then this one are going to be the sides. So as you can see, the number 2 have 2 pieces. So now I'm going to be placing it like this. So pay attention to see how I'm going to be arranging this. So this is actually the number 1. So I hope it's clear. Then here I'm going to place this other one. So this is number 1. So like I said, it can be really confusing, but this is number 1. So number 1 is the only one I cut on a fold, because I'm not going to be joining the center. So now I'll open the number 2 and then give one side to each part, as you can see me doing. So this is going to be one side here, and then the other part for that side. So I hope that is clear. So as you can see that my dart intake on the waist is actually visible even from arranging these pieces together. So this is what I'm going to be working with now. So I have 6 pieces now for the front piece. Now this is how I'm going to be holding them down. So I'll go ahead and hold them down like this. Then I'm going to be stitching on that 1.5-inch allowance I gave. So automatically stitching on that allowance, I'll have what is my main draft. I hope that is clear. So I'm just going to be using the allowance to join it together and then use it to create my bonnet channels as well. So go ahead and pin this down. It is actually better to pin it down so that you don't mix them up while you are sewing. So I'm going to pin the number 1 to the number 2. So this is what it looks like when I'm done pinning. Now I'll pin the number 3 for the right side. Now I'll pin the number 3 to it like this. So you want to go ahead and take your time here, guys. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Alright, now let's continue with the tutorial. So I'll keep using my pin to hold this together. So you want to take your time to do this so that you have your pieces coming out as nice as possible. So guys, this is what it looks like. Now I'll repeat the same process for the other side, just as you can see me doing. Then I will show us how I'll be joining these pieces together. So guys, as you can see, I'm going to be joining on that line I created as my allowance. So I'm going to be stitching on that line directly like this. So this is the other piece. I'm going to be stitching it down as well. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. As you can see, I'm stitching exactly on those lines I created. So guys, this is what I had after I was done joining the pieces together. So this is what the front piece looks like. Now go ahead to press down all the allowance I created. Like I said, this allowance is going to serve as my bonnet channels. So I'm just going to open that down. So I went ahead to do the same thing for the back piece. So I joined my back pieces together, and this is what they look like. So I'll be opening this up as well, so that I have bonnet channels for this. So I will take this to my ironing table now and open it up. So go ahead and take your time to open this up so that you have it as neat as possible. So lovelies, for the lining piece as well, I'm going to repeat the same process I repeated, or what I did on the fabric, I'm going to repeat it on the lining piece as well. So go ahead and stitch down your 1.5 inch allowance just like you did on the main fabric. So I'll stitch this down as well. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. So as you can see, I've joined the front to the back side of the lining piece. So I stitch this down, I open it up as well. So this is what the back piece look like. So I opened it up as well. This is what it looks like. So make sure your allowance are laying as flat as possible. So this is what the two pieces looks like, and then for the front piece, this is what the pieces of the front piece look like. Now what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be joining the two sides together using the allowance line you can see as well. So I'll be joining the front to the back piece. So once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and then work on my boning. So go ahead and lay this as flat as possible. Make sure you use your steam iron or you use your water to wet this so that it comes out looking flat. So now to create the boning channel, just go ahead and measure the wideness of your boning and then use it to stitch this down so that your boning can fit directly into this. So repeat the same process for both the front and the back piece. So another thing I would like us to know is you can decide to just stitch this from the front part. So it is actually easier to create your boning channels from the front part. With this, you have your lines as straight as possible and then as neat as possible. So go ahead and work on it whichever way you think is easier for you, but for me I prefer to stitch from the front piece. So guys, this is what I had after I was done creating the boning channels as well as joining the front piece to the back piece. So now I'll be using the lining piece now to turn this. So I'm going to be turning the upper part of this. Now with the allowance we left, there's also 1.5 inch on the top part of this. So I'll be stitching this down following what I have, like the pen I marked on this. I'm going to be using that to stitch this down. Then this is what the down piece will look like, but I'm not going to be turning the down piece. I'm just going to go ahead to turn the sides. So I'm going to turn the upper part of this, then as well as the sides. So I'll be excluding the lower part of this because I want to use a white piece to tape this part. Let's take this to the sewing machine, then I'll be back to show you what it actually looks like. So lovely, this is what I had after I was done with that. As you can see, I already went ahead to sew on that part. Now just trim off all the excesses I have. Like I said, I left about 1.5 inch allowance here, so leaving it will just make it too bulky, so I'll just reduce it to about ½ inch so that this does not loosen up when the boning is actually inside. So I'll just go ahead to trim this as careful as I can go so that I don't cut on the main fabric. Then on that part, so it is actually a sweetheart neck, so you want to go ahead and notch on that part so that it is more free and it doesn't pull up on that part. So go ahead and trim off all of your excess like this. So as well as the side, I made a stitch on the side, so I'm going to go ahead to reduce the bulkiness on that part as well. So go ahead and trim this down like this. So you can as well see that those allowance that we've gone ahead to use our pen to draw out will actually make it easier for us to work with compared to when you don't have your allowance on it or when you're just using your tape rule to measure on this. So I think it is actually easier because you can easily follow the lines you've created on this. So So guys, this was what I had after I was done. Now I'm going to create another channel, boning channel, after turning this piece, so that I can go ahead and insert a boning before my highlights. So that's where the boning channel is going to be, but we'll go ahead and turn this over before you go ahead and sew down your boning channel for that part. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. So this is where I created the boning channel, like I said. So it was after I turned this I created my boning channel for that part. Then I also went ahead to do it on both sides and press this fabric down, so you can see how neat this looks, and it is actually coming out. So this is the size of the boning I'm going to be using. So I'll just go ahead and measure the length of this and reduce it by 1.5 inch. That is because I'm going to be using a white fabric to turn on this head, and I don't want the boning to be an hindrance when I'm doing that. So I'll go ahead and reduce this by 1.5 inch, then I'll fix it in. So this was what I had. So this is actually the direction in which I fixed my boning, so not to worry, it is actually easier to get this to lay down. So what we're going to be doing is just to iron this. I'll show us that in the later part of this video. So here I'll just go ahead to use my pin to hold the bottom part of this together and then trim it up so that I have it as straight as possible. So I just follow the shape I already have. Now I'll be using this white fabric as a bias in order to tape the bottom part of this. So this is actually optional. I want it to have like a touch of white. That is why you can see me using this. So if you actually want to skip this process, you can go ahead and turn this part before opening this up, so that you have all your seam inside. So yeah, now this is how I'm going to be using this. So I hope you are actually familiar with how to use a bias. So this is how I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to be placing it rather on the lining part like this. After stitching this down randomly, then I'm going to flip it over to the front and then make a top stitch. So that will be clear in no time. So this is what I actually mean. This is how it came out. As you can see, it looks so beautiful. So I just went ahead to tape that and then top stitch on this, and this is what it looks like. So now after I'm done with this, we'll be working on creating our highlight holes and then fixing our highlights on this. So for this part now, these are the parts I'm going to be creating my highlights on for these two sides. So I'll just turn this to the other side now and use my chalk to mark the distance between my highlights. So from this top part, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. So from this 1 inch part, I will have my first highlight. Then I'm going to be spacing this with 2 inches. So I'll mark 2 inches randomly and then space it, put a dot on it. So this part you can see me putting a dot on where my highlights are going to be placed. So just go ahead and repeat this process. So this is actually, it varies actually, so you can decide to work on how you want to space your highlight. Right, so I'll repeat it for the other side as well. And this is what I had after fixing my highlights. So I'll leave another video on how to fix your highlight without using the highlight machine. So this is how it came out. You can see it looks so nice and beautiful. Now I also went ahead to create a cover. So this is going to be the cover for the back. I actually don't want the back to be open, so I'm going to be using this. So the length of this is 12 and then the wideness is 12. So it is on fold, so you have 12 on fold and 12 on the other side on fold. So I just turn this and then stitch it like ½ inch away from where I have my highlights. So I'll turn this to the other side for us to see. So this is how it looks like. Now I'll go ahead and show us how to iron this down so that it's laying as flat as possible. So you want to go ahead to open this up like this and then place a piece of fabric on this. So go ahead and place a piece of fabric on this, then use your steam iron, or you can go ahead and wet this a bit if you don't have a steam iron. Then after placing the fabric on it like this, then you go ahead and iron this out. So because the iron I'm actually using is it uses water, although it is not a steam iron, but it uses water. So I'm going to go ahead to just iron this down so that the bonings can actually take nice position instead of appearing bulky. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. It looks so beautiful and I actually like the outcome. So if you find this video helpful, please like, comment and share the video, and please subscribe to the channel. So I actually decided to rock this with my keyhole blouse I made, and I think it looks so beautiful together as a piece. So it came out as a two-piece. Please guys, thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. God bless you.